So I wanted to do something a little different than I've done on my channel before, and I wanted to do a top 10 of all-time 49ers. This list is a matter of opinion and is not a matter of fact. This is the numbers of the list, whatever number or position guys are in on the list, really doesn't have any bearing. This is just the top 10 best 49ers. This list does not include any current 49ers, so be aware of that. So to get started, my top 10 49ers, number 10, John Taylor, wide receiver, return specialist, drafted in the 76th pick of the third round in the 1986 draft. Played from 1987 to 95. He was a 3-time Super Bowl champion, all-time pro, and a 2-time Pro Bowl selection. Of course, we know his biggest play being the 10-yard pass that he caught from Joe Montana at the end of Super Bowl 23. So John Taylor is number 10 on my list. At number 9 on my list is Roger Craig. He played on the 49ers from 1983 to 1990. He was the first player in the NFL ever to have 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. He was the 49th pick of the second round of the 1983 draft. His years in the NFL were from 1983 to 1993, and he is a 3-time Super Bowl champion, a 4-time Pro Bowl selection. At number 8, we have Charles Haley, played in the NFL from 86 to 96, and then he also played the 98 and 99 season. He's a 5-time Super Bowl champion and a 5-time Pro Bowl selection. Position was outside linebacker. He was the 96th pick of the 4th round in the 1986 draft. He had 12 sacks his rookie season. His best season arguably was 1990 when he had 58 tackles, 16 sacks, and 9 passes defended, and he was part of the 49ers Super Bowl 23 and 24 team, and then he won another 3 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys. At number 7 on the list is Terrell Owens, kind of a controversial player for the 49ers. He was drafted in the 3rd round, the 89th pick of the 1996 NFL Draft. He played on the 49ers from 96 to 2003. He was in the NFL from 1996 to 2010 and then played again in 2012. He's a 6-time Pro Bowl selection, many accolades as a player. He had a 20 reception game against the Chicago Bears in the 2000 season. And of course, the famous catch against the Green Bay Packers to beat the Packers in the wild card game of the 1998 season. Never won a Super Bowl, but is definitely one of the top, I'd say, 3 or 4 wide receivers of all time. So Terrell Owens is number 7 on the list. At number 6 on the list is Dwight Clark. He played on the 49ers from 1979 to 87. That was the only team he played for. He was the 10th round selection of the 1979 draft, 249th pick. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion and a 2-time Pro Bowl selection. His career, he had 506 receptions for 6,750 yards. And we all know him famously for the catch that propelled the 49ers to their very first Super Bowl when they beat the Dallas Cowboys 28-27 and propelled the 49ers to have a dynasty that lasted almost 20 years. At number 5 on this list, one of the greatest 49ers of all time. I know most fans, if not all fans, agree. And I'm talking about Frank Gore, 3rd round pick, number 65 overall in the 2005 draft. As of now of making this video, I think he's still playing. He's a 5-time Pro Bowl selection. He holds the 49ers rushing yards per game at 212. Most rushing yards, 100-yard games in a season with 9. Most rushing yards in a season for a 49er with 1,695. And he was an integral part of the 49ers getting back to the Super Bowl for the first time since 1994. In a game where we eventually lost to the Baltimore Ravens. Any 49er fan has a ton of admiration and love for Frank Gore for everything that he did for the franchise. He is the truest sense of the word champion. And like I said, he's one of the greatest 49ers of all time. When he left the 49ers, he rushed for 11,073 yards, 2,883 receiving yards, and 342 receptions. So just a stellar career for a stellar player, and it's unfortunate that we couldn't get a ring while he was here. At number 4 on the list is one of my favorite players of all time, Ronnie Lott. He played in the NFL from 1981 to 1995. He was a 4-time Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers and a 10-time Pro Bowl selection. He was drafted with the 8th pick in the first round of the 1981 NFL draft. He started his career as a cornerback, but eventually switched to safety. And like I said, he was one of the greatest 49ers of all time, an intimidator, a true team leader, and a Hall of Famer. Him and Joe Montana, I think, went in at the same time. So, yeah, one of my favorite players of all time. And anytime you think of the 49ers and the legends that played on this franchise, Ronnie Lott is one of them. At number 3, a player that I didn't like very much in the past, but I've grown to love, that is Steve Young. Steve Young played in the NFL from 1987 to 1989. He was the first pick in the first round of the 1984 supplemental draft. The Niners traded for him when he played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He eventually came to the 49ers. I think it was the year that Montana had the back injury and was told that he was going to take over. Of course, he had to wait many years before he did actually take over. He eventually got his start when Joe Montana injured his elbow in the 1991 offseason, which effectively ended Joe Montana's time with the 49ers. As we all know, Steve Young was kind of in Joe Montana's shadow until he won a Super Bowl. And, of course, the Niners won that Super Bowl 49-26, where Steve Young actually broke Joe Montana's touchdown record with 6 in the game. So, yeah, definitely one of my favorite players now, but not in the past, because I was a Joe Montana apologist, and I'm not very shy about it. At number 2 on the list, he's my favorite 49er of all time, but I'm going to put him number 2 on the list because number 1, to me, is the greatest football player of all time. But at number 2 is Joe Montana. Played for the 49ers from 1979 to 1992. Played in the NFL from 1979 to 1994. He was the 82nd pick of the 3rd round of the 1979 draft. Joe Montana is a 4-time Super Bowl champion, a 3-time Super Bowl MVP, a 2-time NFL MVP, and an 8-time Pro Bowl selection. Joe Montana, to me, was the greatest quarterback of all time until Tom Brady showed up. He's still one of the greatest players in the NFL history. For a guy that didn't have the biggest arm, he made up for it with accuracy and just calmness, that in the biggest situations he was at his best. And we all know Super Bowl 23, how with 34 seconds left, he hit John Taylor for a 10-yard touchdown. They started the drive at their own 8-yard line and drive 92 yards, they started at their own 8-yard line and they drove the rest of the field to win the Super Bowl. So that in itself, to me, earned him GOAT status for a very long time. His last Super Bowl he played, he threw 5 touchdowns, and that was the rout of the Denver Broncos, where the Niners won 55-10. Like I said, him and number 1 could have been easily swapped, but I'll put him at number 2 just because number 1 is probably, to me, the greatest football player of all time. At number 1, we all know who it is. It's Jerry Rice. He played for the 49ers from 1985 to 2000. He played in the NFL from 1985 to 2005. He was the 16th pick in the first round of the 1985 draft. The greatest wide receiver ever to play the game. Greatest receiver to me, and greatest football player in general to ever play. 1,549 receptions, 197 receiving touchdowns, a Super Bowl MVP, MVP in the Super Bowl 23, where he had 11 catches for 215 yards and a touchdown. And his career was just unmatched by anybody we've ever seen. He's got records that will probably never be broken. And to me, he's the best 49ers player and NFL player in general ever to play. Again, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, and a 13-time Pro Bowl selection. That is my top 10 49er list. Just something different I wanted to do. You could probably take these players and move them in any order you want, but that's just how I got them. If you guys have any other ideas, let me know down in the comments below. But until then, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Bye, guys.